The New South Wales election is today. Let's have a look. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Heiser Says. I've got my stein of coffee, and I thought we'd read through this article from news.com.au about the New South Wales State Election. And we're lucky because this is everything we need to know. Everything at all we need to know about the election. Yep, they said so. Let's have a look. If you haven't been paying attention to the New South Wales state election, don't worry. Don't worry. Everything you need to know on the major parties is right here. Everything. Fantastic. And I mean, I'm a Queenslander. I haven't been following the New South Wales state election as closely as I have just political predicaments in Australia or Queensland for that matter. So this will be great for me. I wonder how much I'll learn. So, if the thought of politics makes your blood run cold, we don't blame you. Well, no, considering I talk about it nearly every day at the moment, I can't say it makes my blood run cold, maybe red hot in anger and frustration, but that's just me. However, Australian law dictates that everyone over 18 and enrolled in New South Wales must have a say in the New South Wales election today or you'll cop a fine. Yeah, that's the thing. We've got mandatory voting here in Australia. I think the first thing we need to push for is to remove mandatory voting. It's that simple. A lot of people do not give a damn about politics. They're not interested in it at all. And they will just blindly vote for whoever their parents voted for or who they're told to vote for. I think we need to get rid of it. Get rid of mandatory voting and make it voluntary. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Do you think, pardon me, there'll ever be a party on the left pushing for it? Some polling booths have already opened for early voters, as have online, telephone and postal votes. But for the majority of New South Wales residents, Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. is your chance to cast your vote. Now, for those of you from overseas that are watching, going to vote in Australia, usually it's at a local school. They'll be probably selling a little cake store where they're selling stuff to raise money for the school. It'll definitely be a barbecue. And you have to do the run through all the different people handing out the propaganda for you. Now, those people handing out the propaganda, the how to vote cards, that can sway about 5% of voters. 5% haven't even made up their mind and make their mind up depending on what's handed to them. I remember the last time I was involved in an election here in Queensland, and the people were lying. They were literally lying to people who were approaching. There was the whole Mediscare campaign where they were texts saying they were going to privatize Medicare, which is our public health system. I think they were looking at privatizing a portion of the payroll system of it. So it was completely fabricated BS and frankly should have been illegal what they were doing. But, scare people, it works. If you're panicking about who to vote for and you don't want the government taking $55 from your coffers, yeah, that's the fine. Here's a breakdown of the key policies from the major parties, because this is all we need to know, apparently. So this is the Liberal Party, and so Liberal is meant to be the more conservative leaning party here in Australia. Liberal in Australia and England, all the Commonwealth countries, means something different to America. It means what it's meant to mean. 3 new light rail projects, so there you go. Infrastructure spending. Parramatta Light Rail Stage 1 to connect the Parramatta CBD to surrounding areas. Parramatta Light Rail Stage 2, which will run north to the Parramatta River and link to the Sydney Olympic Park, and the Newcastle Light Rail. So, trams. They're offering trams. 5 new motorways, including $16.8 billion for the West Connect, and in addition to $1 billion for regional roads and bridge repairs. What is going on with their infrastructure? What is going on? I know when I've driven down to Sydney, to Byron, just when you go from Queensland over to northern New South Wales, just the roads, it changes. It gets worse. $8.3 billion for the Sydney Metro Northwest train service. $5.7 billion for the Sydney Metro and Southwest, capping Opal Card weekly fares at $50. So spending, subsidy. $1.9 billion for the construction and refurbishment of 3 stadiums. Recruit 8,200 additional frontline health services, including 5,000 new nurse positions and 1,060 new medical staff positions, such as doctors and specialists. Now remember, this is the Conservative Party. They're spending a lot here. They're offering a lot. Where's the tax deductions? Recruit 4,600 extra full-time teachers over the next 4 years, growing the public service. $120 million to ensure before and after school care will be made available to all parents with children in the public primary schools by 2021. They want to keep you working. So they want to keep you working so they can tax you more so you don't spend any time with your children. Then they'll pay for the extra care for your children because you're so lucky. And they get to indoctrinate them more, so it just gets worse. And this is the Liberals. You know, I haven't seen one tax cut in here, and I'm sure this is just news.com picking the things that are probably most interesting. Around 100,000 new TAFE courses with 80 million TAFE campuses for Western Sydney. 1.2 billion to clear the school maintenance backlog to allow schools to accelerate important work such as carpenting, roof maintenance, and painting. That's, well, there you go. A new national park southwest of Sydney, which will cover around 3,680 hectares. Oh, there you go. So they're offering a whole lot of stuff. So, and a national park, so they'll get the green tick. Let's have a look at what Labor is promising. Free TAFE tuition for 600,000 students in all certificate level courses in areas where there's a skills deficit. Okay, hire 5,500 nurses over the next 4 years and introduce nurse-to-patient ratios, meaning 1 nurse for every 3 patients in major emergency departments. I'm honestly surprised they don't actually have those ratios, although I'm here in Queensland and our EDs are pretty, I think, much better, or they were at least. Now we're getting ambulances queuing again. Give 500,000 homes rebates for solar panels. This is, okay, they're wanting to buy greenie votes. I hate these rebates for panels. I really do. Everyone's saying it's the way of the future. We need to support renewable energy. Yet we're just plowing so much money into this outdated garbage that isn't sustainable by itself. You know, if you count the rebates, so that if you combine the money people spend on the panels and then the rebates that go into the industry, how long will it take to pay off that cost in energy savings? Create 9.5 billion new state-owned renewable energy, a state-owned renewable energy company to power 3 million homes. Okay, good luck. Good luck. Will it be using nuclear? 35 million over 4 years to support live music in New South Wales. Okay, cool. The big problem is, and this may shock international viewers, is in Sydney and parts of Australia, you know, even here in Brisbane, you've got lockout laws. So up until 1 a.m, if you leave a nightclub at 1 a.m, you can't go back in. You sure you can stay in there and keep having fun, but they stop serving shots, and you can only drink certain things, and then they lock you out. So then everyone leaves at the same time, and there's all fights on the street. I hope that it's addressing that. Build 50 new schools in the first 4 years. 10 days paid domestic violence leave to allow victims to get on with their lives. Okay. That's sounds nice, but that's what we already have. Banks of holiday leave. You know, that's duress leave. It all comes together. Free public transport for kids. No more privatisation of public transport. 8 billion to spend on the Metro West to Parramatta. Building a new Northwest public hospital at Roose Hill. And a new hospital in the Urubulda Shire on the south coast. Hire 200 new firefighting positions. I wonder if they'll be gender quoted. Hiring 1,500 new police positions. So then they're telling you how to vote and if you can't access to a vote center. So this is just, you know, a little tidbit of what you're going to get exposed to from news.com. So just a bunch of spending from both of them. Can you tell me which side, what's the difference from just reading this? What would be the difference between Labor and Liberal? You know, someone who isn't Australian. Can you let me know in the comments what you think? So, you know, what do you do if you're frustrated? You've got other options. And okay, so these are the parties that are running in the upper house, or the state's Senate in New South Wales. And I think a lot of people are frustrated at the major two. They're going to want to look at alternatives, and that's why I've started the Minor Matters series, where we're looking at these minor parties, or smaller parties, and not so minor anymore. And I'll try and do that today, but I know it's election day, you never know. At the very least, what they're going to be putting forward at a state level is going to be the same at a national level. So you've got the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers Party, the Socialist Alliance, Sustainable Australia, the Greens, the Animal Justice Party, Advance, and then Group G and Group H, they're not a party, they're other groupings in the Senate. You've got Flux, Labor, Liberal, Group L, and then the Australian Conservatives, the Keep Sydney Open, Liberal Democrats, Voluntary Euthanasia Party, the Christian Democratic Party, the Small Business Party, Pauline Hanson's One Nation. So, I will look at each one of these and do a minor matters episode. But what I would suggest you do, if you're annoyed at the big two, if you're annoyed, you're frustrated, you're concerned with, because there's nothing here mentioning anything to do with free speech, any of these issues. And remember, New South Wales have brought recent laws into place with regards to that. And I think a lot of the issues I have, particularly with discrimination in employment, a lot of it's coming from the state level. Here in Queensland, the Queensland Police discriminating based on gender. That's one issue that I really have. The Queensland education system adopting safe schools and those programs, I have quite an issue with that. Teaching, sexual issues and all about sexual health to primary school children, I think isn't really necessary. You teach it when they start going into high school or late primary school, like what happened back in our day, and it has to focus on health. But, that's just me. I must be a dinosaur, wanting people to stay healthy. So I would, we'll look at each one of these. And personally, I would I'd find a candidate in the Senate that you want to support. For me, a lot of the issues are liberty-focused, individual freedoms, and countering the rise of left-wing authoritarianism pushed through by PC culture and everyone being nice and friendly and fighting hate. I think it's a very deceptive strategy that's going to really bite us all. So the two that come to mind, and this is not based on any of their policies, would be Mark Latham and David Lyneham. Just because, purely based on their public profile, purely based on the fact that they've built a reputation being counter to the PC culture, being counter to all of these restrictions on your freedom, I would argue that they're not perfect. No one is ever going to be perfect, but they're the best people I know of from a Queensland's perspective, that if they suddenly back away on their decisions, I would hope they'd have a crisis of conscience and a crisis of identity. Because once you start publicly declaring who you are, once you sign yourself up to, I won't do this, or I'm associated with this belief system, it's very hard to counter that. And there's your best chance to have people in your Senate here in New South Wales that may at least be a voice against some of the crazy things that are getting pushed through. But, I can't say anything for their policies because I haven't gone through them yet. This is just based on what I've seen, how they're acting in public, and from a persuasion and human psychology perspective, just thinking how, I can't imagine Lyneham all of a sudden turning tables and advocating for higher taxes for more solar panels or more public parks or more, taking one thing off one group to give to another. That kind of goes countercultural to his whole brand and his whole aspect that he's put forward as a person. So if from a big picture perspective, those are some issues that you're concerned with about liberty and freedom and common sense, they might be too hard to look at. But guys, let me know in the comments, who would you be voting for? Who do you know on a public level that you think would be worth backing? Are there any parties here that you're more interested in others? So I'll just start going through each one of these, and I'll try and get them out today, guys. I'll just shoot them out one to the other, so you may get hammered with a lot of stuff, but we'll see. I may have to spread them out a bit and do just those minor matters. We'll see how I go. So guys, thank you and good luck in the election in New South Wales. I'm really interested to see what happens. Who do you think will win? Do you think it'll be Labor? Do you think it'll be Liberal? Do you think we'll have some interesting candidates in the Senate? Do you think any of these minors will actually get someone in the lower house? So like, share and subscribe. Ding the bell to see my daily updates. And I'll talk to you all later. Bye for now.